Minutes from now, President Trump will be speaking at the Council for National Policy. It's a meeting happening in Arlington, Virginia. We will be watching for that. But first, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden last night getting some high remarks for striking what many said was the right tone in his acceptance speech on the final night of the Democratic convention. The headline in Politico this morning says, quote, Biden just made it a lot harder for Republicans to tag him Slow Joe. Sarah Sanders, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor, joins us now. Sarah, good morning to you. What was your thoughts as you watched Joe Biden deliver that speech?
Look, it's one thing to read prepared remarks from a teleprompter. It's a whole new ballgame to have to go toe-to-toe and actually debate the president or take tough questions from the media. Two things that Joe Biden is going to have to do to move the ball forward. And I think it will be a pivotal moment when we actually see these two men on stage debating one another. And I don't think that Joe Biden is going to get the same kind of headlines coming out of that he did last night. I think President Trump has shown a masterful ability to debate and go up against pretty much anybody and do extremely well. And I think that will be a key moment in this race and one of the reasons that President Trump is going to do extremely well in November.
There seems to be continued attacks on the part of Democrats, as you've watched 4 nights of this convention this week, attacks on President Trump's character. Joe Biden tried to draw a sharp contrast to what a Biden presidency would look like versus a Trump presidency. And he tried to paint a very optimistic picture of what that will look like. Did he succeed in that?
I don't think so. The entire convention was nothing but doom and gloom and desperation. All they did was attack the president. They didn't lay out a clear case for what they would do over the course of the next 4 years. And I think we know why. It's because most Americans reject their policies and their platform, that their party has moved so far to the left, they know they're out of touch with Americans. The only thing they did over the last 4 days was attack this president. I think this coming week, you're going to see a very different convention and a total contrast. You're going to hear the president and others talk about all of the successes over the last 4 years, better trade deals, higher wages, lower taxes, the victory over ISIS, rebuilding of the military, and being tough on China, something the previous administration that Joe Biden was a part of failed to do. It will be a major difference. I think you will also see Republicans step up and talk about taking on the liberal mob, not allowing them to control and destroy our cities, something Democrats completely ignored and didn't address one single time that I remember over the last 4 days. It will be a very different convention, and I think will put the president on a great path headed into the rest of September, October, leading into November.
Well, Democrats make the case that this was the strongest speech of his political career. Even some Republicans last night saying that he delivered and he came in above expectations in many points. And there was a moment that is being highlighted by a lot of media outlets this morning where he tries to paint this positive picture of his administration, vowing to bring light to darkness. Here's Joe Biden.
We can choose a path of becoming angrier, less hopeful, more divided, a path of shadow and suspicion, or we can choose a different path and together take this chance to heal, to reform, to unite, a path of hope and light. This is a life-changing election. Character is on the ballot. Compassion is on the ballot.
So, Sarah, I'll ask how you believe Republicans need to respond to that with the convention next week. But first, I'll put up on the screen these officials for Biden in an official letter. It's a comprehensive 10-point letter from 70-plus former national security officials who served under GOP administrations. They wrote this: Donald Trump has gravely damaged America's role as a world leader, shown that he is unfit to lead during a national crisis, aligned himself with dictators, and failed to stand up for American values, disparaged our armed forces, intelligence agencies, and diplomats, attacked and vilified immigrants to our country. That includes Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel and former NSA Director Michael Hayden. What do you do about that as far as messaging next week when you see those continued attacks and even some who served under GOP administrations on President Trump's foreign policy?
I think that these individuals are certainly entitled to their own opinions, but they're not entitled to their own facts. The truth is the president has actually led our country in the defeat of ISIS, something the previous administration failed to do. In fact, their weakness is what allowed ISIS to grow in the first place. It wasn't until President Trump came in and unleashed our American military that we defeated them. President Trump has been tough on China. He has been tough on Russia. He has given us energy dominance and energy independence from other countries that are our adversaries. If anything, these people should listen and look at what actually has taken place over the last 4 years, because it was this president that cleaned up most of their messes and fixed the failures of those administrations that came before him. I think if anything, maybe they're embarrassed because they couldn't get the job done, and they've been doing this for decades. Donald Trump's been there for 4 years and has already done more in those 4 years than the previous individuals have done in the last 40.
Quick preview, RNC, the convention happening next week. After what you've seen of 4 nights of the Democratic convention, how do you tailor your message? What do you improve on from what you saw, and what was learned?
I don't think it'll be hard to improve on. I think anything that has a message of hope and optimism and talks about what this president not only has done, but will continue to do for this country, about lifting Americans up instead of putting every single individual down. It's about remembering what makes America so incredible and so special is that we enjoy freedom. We celebrate freedom and prosperity, and we will do everything we can to protect that and protect what makes America the greatest country on the face of the planet, instead of trying to take us to a socialist country and create a new system that is so opposite of what we love about America. I think you'll hear a lot about that. I think you'll hear from everyday Americans who have lived the success story under this president, how his policies have impacted their lives. And again, I think you're going to hear a lot more optimism, not the doom and gloom and negativity that we heard from the Democrats this past week.
We will see. We've had the DNC on this week as well. We'll be talking to them next week. Sarah Sanders, appreciate your time. Thank you.